for taking part in it as well. You danced really well, didn't they? Lena, didn't they dance well? Yeah, I think so, yeah. So we're going to just tell you a little bit about what we've been doing over the past year or so with Hope Now, and where we've been going and what we've been doing. Most of you will know that we're working in Ukraine, and what is it, about 1,400 miles from here. Often it's like going back in time a little bit in some of the areas we go to work in. Some of you may remember outside Lewes, wells to collect your water, but it's not like that everywhere. In the cities it's quite modern in places too. But we are continuing our work in healthcare, in orphanages, in prisons, education, evangelism, and also working with the elderly. And we're just going to sort of update you on one or two of those things now. Earlier this year I went out on a medical outreach program with Dr. Doroshenko. He's from the Kirovograd region, which is just a little bit further south than we are in Cherkasy, but his ministry stretches right the way up through our region of Cherkasy and up to Kyiv, with the capital of Ukraine. And it's an opportunity for people in the villages to have some medical help. In Ukraine, we don't have a national health system like we do in the UK. We may complain about the one here, but I have to say it's quite a lot better than what's over there. So if you don't have any money, there's no point in going to the hospital for medical treatment. You won't get it. You have to take your own bandages, your own syringes, your own medicines, and see the doctor, and you need to pay the doctor when you get there too. And of course you need to pay if they keep you in hospital. And also your family will need to bring food in for you. So it's not like going into hospital here and having the care that we can have in the UK. So going out to the villages is something quite special, and Dr. Doroshenko and his team go out on a regular basis, probably about 6 or 7 times a year, to different villages, and they also include an outreach in it. Often some of the problems are not actually physical, and this particular lady on the right hand side came and complained about her illness that she thought she had. She wasn't feeling well, she didn't feel as if she was being fulfilled in any way, and when she was asked about her lifestyle, it turned out that she was living an immoral life. She was living with one man, seeing another man, she was drinking, occasionally taking drugs, and she didn't feel happy about her life at all. But so she was sent in to see the pastor. That's the man on the left there, and he spoke with her and prayed with her, and she repented and gave her life to the Lord that morning and promised to keep going back to the church. The lady in the middle at the back is Lena Wiszymirski, and is our director's wife, and she will keep in touch with the young lady on the telephone to just help her along, because there are times, you know, when we all need a bit of help, isn't there? Our internet work in orphanages, that continues. This particular internat, Mialovka, is very close to my heart because it's the first place that my wife Ali and I went to when we went to Ukraine. We had a week's summer camp there working with the children, and we continue to go back there as an organisation, and we take other folk there too, to spend some time with the children, and to also encourage the directors and the staff there. It's always great fun to go there, and you can see Phil Mutton there in the middle. He's one of our trustees. He loves to go out to that internat and to do a little bit of teaching sometimes, and sometimes we have to do a little performance for them on the stage as well. But often when we go to visit, we are fed very, very well. Not often, all the time. And this is a plate of food that was put before Philip on our last visit there. It's always very healthy. We also go regularly to the Cherkasy Rescue Shelter. The rescue shelter is in the town of Cherkasy, and it's set up by the authorities to take in children who are either left on the streets, or if they're trying to live their lives on the streets, or if they're taken away from their parents for any reason. Perhaps their parents are drug abusers or alcoholics, and it's not safe for the children to stay there. It was a case that they would only be allowed to stay at the rescue shelter for 3 months. Then after that they would go to an internat like the one we just seen. But now they're allowed to keep the children there for 9 months, which is much better for both the children and the staff. You can see, if you can see the eyes of some of these children, they will tell a story of the sort of life that they've led up to now. And many of them just want some love, they just want some hugs. And slightly different to the UK, you know, when we go to Ukraine, they're very happy for us to hug the children, for them to hug us. and as soon as you kneel down on the floor, you're surrounded by children with their arms around your neck, and they just want to see some kind of some love shown to them. But when they get a bit older, they get to perhaps 18 years of age, they would have left the internats, and some of the girls are taken into one of our pre-independence homes. We have two, one for boys and one for girls. And this is the girls' one. It's a flat just on the outskirts of the town centre, Chickassie. And we have 6 young ladies there now. And Larissa in the middle is our childcare officer, and she oversees them. She lives just across the road. She calls in most evenings to spend time with them, and does Bible studies 2 or 3 times a week as well. She also helps to teach them household chores, sewing, cooking, that sort of thing. All of them have either got jobs or they're going to university now. One is an accountant, one's learning to be a chef. We'll talk about her a little bit later. 2 of them are doing bakery work, and one's an accountant, or training to be an accountant. So it's an opportunity for them to carry on learning as they grow up a bit older. Our prison work continues, more so in support of those who are working in the prisons. It becomes more and more difficult for foreigners to go into prisons, and rather than cause issues with the prison authorities, we find it's more sensible to support people like Anatoly Perepelitsa here. He's the chaplain of Prison 62, and we support him with just £25 a month. That's all he's ever asked for, which is for a few bananas and a few biscuits to take into the prison to spend time with the prisoners. And many of them come to know the Lord. Many of them come to repent whilst they're in prison. So it's a real opportunity for us to support that work. But we also support them when they leave prison. Many of the people, as I say, come to know the Lord. Many of them come to train at our Bible school as well. And they try to set up small churches in the villages that they've come from. This is Sergei and Larissa. Sergei was a drug dealer in the same village that he's now living. And Larissa, his wife, is HIV positive. We support Larissa with medication and help her. The pretty lady on the right, by the way, is Ali, my wife. She joined me on that trip. But Sergei, as I say, was a drug dealer in the village, but he was seriously beaten up and put into hospital and then prison because of what he did. And now he's realised the error of his ways, and he's able to teach the young people in that village the problems of taking drugs. So he's able to actually encourage them to stop doing it and to be able to live a better lifestyle. Education is something else that we're very keen to try and help and support, and we've been supporting students for a number of years now in various universities. We're also starting to work much more closely with the schools. This is school number 20, where Natalia teaches and some of the young people train. And we're also now working with the director of the school, teaching English, doing English lessons. We have some retired English teachers who have now decided to come over to Ukraine on a regular basis to teach. And they've also twinned school number 20 with a school in Southampton. So they're able to have pen pals and write to each other. These young children that you can see there are in the art class, and they're designing next year's Hope Now Christmas card, of which the last couple of years are outside there, and if you'd like to buy your Christmas cards tonight, you can. Evangelism is something else that we try to do, an outreach, and each year, for the last 3 years, I've been taking part in an annual cycle tour. I thought it'd be very nice to go for a bicycle ride in Ukraine, a nice rolling countryside. What I didn't realise when I said I would do it is that they cycle at about 25 kilometres an hour all the time for about 5 hours a day, 50 miles a day, 5 days for the week. So by the end of the week, as not quite a 21-year-old, I'm struggling a bit. So I'm very happy to have a hand on my back sometimes to help push me up those hills. But it's not just a cycle ride, because we go to the villages, we go to the schools in the villages and run summer camps for a day, and then in the evenings we will help to do worship with the local churches and encourage them as well. So it's a great time. And of course that can often lead on to baptisms, and 11 people were baptised at First Baptist Church just this year. Many of the pastors, as I mentioned earlier, train at the Bible school. And Andrei, the young man you can see here, and his wife Tanya, are working in a village called Vilshana. They have 2 young children. This picture was taken just a few weeks ago, so it's very up to date. And you can see on the bottom right the house that they live in. Tanya came from a village, so she knew what village life was about. And she knows that you have to go to the well to get your water, you have to go down the garden to go to the loo, you have to make sure you've got your wood chopped for the winter months, and you have to make sure you have your food stored in the ground. There's no Tesco's around the corner. But Andre said he really felt called to go and work in the village. So he's working there now for 2 years, and he's been able to make a real impact both in the local school, in the local internat, and on the streets, where he's had a painting exhibition of various stories of the Lord during his life. So he's doing a fantastic job there. And families, we're working with several families, often those with many children. We call them the families with many children. So they get a bit of support. But this small family here is Oksana, Ruslana and Tonya. And Oksana on the left and Tonya on the right, the two elder ones, were thrown out of their home in a village by a drunken stepfather. The mother couldn't stand up to him, so a Christian lady within the village took them in and helped them for a time, and then contacted us at Hope Now to see if we could help in some way. So Oksana, the lady on the left, is now one of the girls at Swindon House. She's there studying to be the chef in a Japanese restaurant. And she told Larissa, I really like cooking Japanese food, and I really like Japanese men. I would like to marry a Japanese man. And Larissa said, Oksana, you must remember you're nearly 6 foot tall, and most Japanese men are only 4 foot tall. How will that look on the wedding pictures? But on a happier note, Tonya on the right-hand side, she was married this June to her new husband, and she's taken young Ruslana, the stepdaughter, in with them as well. So there's a family of 3 living there too. So some happy stories as well. Compass Park was always something very special to Vic's vision, my predecessor, and we bought the old school in the village of Christiatic, where we're able to take both children and widows and widowers for a week's camp. They're able to spend time there studying Bible studies, craft, arts and craft, but on top of that we're able to take volunteers from England and America to go and spend some time for a week on camp with them. And it's a real good opportunity for people to have a taste of mission for the first time. And you can see the children love the water, as do the older folk and the widows and widowers. You will see here we're having a wonderful time both on the land and on the water. And they do insist on wearing their headscarves no matter what. But you know, at the beginning of the first camp a couple of years ago, I may have told you this, one of the men stood up and said, this week I've come to find a new wife, and I will make my decision during the week after interviewing you all. When the Friday came, he announced his decision and the lady said yes, and just 3 weeks later they were married. So another happy story. So if anyone wants to come to Ukraine Widows Camp, you're most welcome. Zozulenko, the group that you've seen here, aren't they a wonderful example of Ukraine? I think they're great ambassadors, and it's a real opportunity for us to show you something of Ukraine, because I know you can't all come. I'd love to take you all, and I know you would love it if you came. But these young people have given up a month of their schooling. They've been training so hard over the last year, sometimes 8 hours a day on a Saturday on their day off. And then in the evenings as well, Natalia has been training them and bringing them up to the standard that you see tonight. But you know, they are here because they know some of the issues, some of the problems in Ukraine, and they want to make a difference. And you being here this evening are helping to make that difference too. So thank you for coming, and I guess you'd probably like to hear them sing again, would you? Yes. Yeah? I need you to clap really loud to welcome them back.